Keith Landry from Tech Rodeo. We're very excited to be having an event here. If you're not aware, there are more panels like this happening across the city. So if this is interesting to you, definitely check out techrodeo.com, see the schedule. The next place we will be having panels is just over at Greentown, walking distance from here. They start at 12:30, and we have 4 panels. Then after that, there is a little tech and tequila thing if you are of legal drinking age. They also have tacos and water, so everybody is welcome. That starts at 5. On Wednesday, we have panels at CCIP Coworking in the morning, which is in Midtown, and in the afternoon. No, sorry, Wednesday is TMC, the Med Center, and then in the afternoon we will be at the Cannon downtown in the Amity Building. On Thursday morning is CCIP Coworking, and then Thursday afternoon we have a hackathon event sponsored by Code Launch, and so that's something that we've talked about. Some of these pitch competitions, it's very similar to that. So if you want to go see a big deal kind of one, they have a big production about it. It's very cool. We're also having 3 of the mayoral candidates who have announced their candidacy for the mayor of Houston in 2024. They're going to be speaking at that panel directly to the startup and entrepreneur and small business community of Houston. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check all of those things out.
And 4 years ago, I joined SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives. We are in the US, 12,000 volunteers. Everything we do is free. We're a non-profit. And we organize 300 chapters in all the big cities. And here in Houston, we have 160 volunteers, and we help 7,000 and 8,000 companies to start up every year. Business plans, marketing plans, capital projections. We do also every month between 10 and 12 education webinars on all aspects of business. And we help between 10 and 12,000 companies who are already in business to stabilize, improve, grow, expand, and even export. That's my story.
I love the SCORE, and I would say like I'm the one who really I use the SCORE a lot, and I know your connection with Capital One. I got into one of the programs for Capital One, but like I want to ask you, how important is mentorship and entrepreneurship?
It's so fundamental. If you try to do it on your own, you have 99% chance of failure. You need to have people like myself who've made probably more mistakes than you'll ever make in your life. And ask us questions, follow our advice. Do it yourself. It's your baby, it's your business. But listen to what we have to say, because we've seen so many different situations, so many different approaches. If you allow us, we can be so creative to help you find the right solution for your business and where you want to go. Educate yourself. What you have to have in mind as an entrepreneur at any point in time is these 5 things. 1, your operations. How you deliver your product or service in time, in quality, and in cost. That's fundamental. Second is your marketing funnel. Not the number of contracts you have, but the opportunities that are at the top of the funnel. The things that come in. How you network, how you find the clients' potentials. The third one is your team. At some point in time, you're going to have to hire people, contractors, employees. How do you communicate with them? How do you create a culture inside your organization? How do you make all that seamless is important. The fourth one, know your numbers, your financials. Make decisions based on numbers, not on emotions. I see way too many people, they love this, they don't care about that, and they love the wrong thing. Use your numbers to make decisions.
What resources are available during this time too?
I'm in the process of making a list of all the resources that can help entrepreneurs. I'm already at 67. By the time I finish, I'll be at over 100. It's incredible. We have one of the best innovation ecosystems in the whole country, but there's no central repository for it. And that's what I'm trying to bring together.
Beautiful. Can you name a few of them now, like for the audience?
Think about Rice Alliance, HCC, UT, A&M, College Station, St. Jacinto, Full Star College. Think about the IND, the Canon, Winton Labs, Mass Challenge, Impact Hub, Generator, Station Houston. Think about MBDC, SCORE, plenty. World League, the Women's Chamber of Commerce. 55 National Chamber of Commerce, 35 local Chamber of Commerce, 25 economic development organizations. Plenty.
I was reading one time, like, mentorship is like a lighthouse. Give you guidance, but not a specific path. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, we are not going to do the work. You do the work. So we'll help you with the right resources, the right business plans, the right approaches, contacts with the right bankers or crowdfunding or seed or whatever makes sense for your business. It will help you put yourself in the leading position in your business.
Thank you. So, April, now, can you discuss various funding options available for entrepreneurs in Houston?
Sure. Good morning. My name is April Felton. I am with the Pandemic Recovery Center at Houston Community College, and we're operated through the Houston Community College, but we are funded through the U.S. Commerce through the Minority Business Development Agency. So our program is focused on assisting the minority business community in resources and efforts, educational programming, and a whole array of resources that assist this community in providing everything that they need to recover from the pandemic, right? So we help from all stages of business cycles, from ideation to the growing stage to scaling. So we provide one-on-one business counseling, and we also provide programming that has picked up for this month, pretty robust, almost every day. So we encourage you to use some of our programming. But we just held an event. So speaking of funding, we just held an event in collaboration with the Small Business Administration, a lending matchmaking event a couple of weeks ago. So what we found is that most minority businesses and entrepreneurs, you have this idea and you want to move your idea forward, but it takes money. So there's a variety of different funding options that are there to assist small businesses and entrepreneurs, but finding the one that's right for you is really key, right? So you have your traditional funding options like your banks. The Small Business Administration provides loans for small businesses, grants that you don't have to pay back. And then what's become most popular now is crowdfunding. So that's an option as well. So many entrepreneurs are not as risky in utilizing their own funds, and so it's less risky to use someone else's funds. So those are just a couple of options to consider when you're looking to fund your business. But what you want to do is just find what works best for you. As Willy said, understanding the numbers and your finances, your financial needs are going to be essential for you before you're going out after something like a loan or even pitching your business for venture capitalists or an angel investor.
And I think from my personal experience, I see some entrepreneurs, they not really focus on their business much. They focus at the fund at the beginning, but they collapse when it's like there's no balance. They need fund, but they don't have a list of customers, or they are not generating any revenue. I guess that's one of the challenges.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're starting your business, I mean, you're wearing all hats, and your head is in the game. Your heart is in it as well, and you're not really taking the time to really focus on building that pipeline of opportunities and saying how much value or lifetime value a client is worth, and how much effort should be put into that. Because really that kind of dictates your funding opportunities as well, saying, where are you concentrating your operations and efforts, and where do you really need to get the resources, the funding resources that you need.
This leads me to the next question. What challenges are facing entrepreneurs in Houston?
I think it depends on the stage of your business. If you're just starting out, we find that a lot of it is fear of failure, not taking that risk. It's a tremendous amount of takes grit, perseverance, a lot of time and commitment in starting a business. So sometimes you find that it's just that startup phase, that phase of just getting started. The other thing is finding the resources. Like Willy said, there's so many resources here in Houston, and what we've seen is that people just don't know where to go to find them. And having mentorship, having various different programs like SCORE, Houston Community College, our Office of Entrepreneurial Initiatives, MBDA, they can provide you and steer you in the right direction that you may need. And coming to events like this is essential to learning some of those resources.
So Carol, can you speak about the role about accelerators and co-working spaces here in Houston?
Sure. So my name is Cajoles. I work at the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunities. What we do at OBO is really, our mission is that we are committed to the success of small businesses. We have a special emphasis on assisting women, minorities, and our vision really is to eliminate systemic barriers to opportunity in the greater Houston region. So one of the ways that we actually put forth our mission and vision is to administer the city's supplier diversity program. So we certify small businesses, we certify minority-owned businesses, women-owned small businesses, small business enterprises. We also facilitate certifications on behalf of the Texas Department of Transportation. So if you're going to be looking into contracting in the private and public sectors, I would suggest looking into certification. We also have business development programs that we do for startups, for businesses who are already established but are wanting to grow, get into contracting. And that actually brings me to the answer to your question, which is, the role really of accelerators and co-working spaces, because we do work a lot with accelerators and co-working spaces. The beauty of these institutions is that they really are for businesses that are willing to start up. So I was actually talking, I see Grant, he is involved in Accelerator, and he told me that once he worked with an accelerator, it was like a boot camp for really helping him get his business off the ground. As Willy said, mentorship is so important. And if you get involved with an accelerator, you will get the resources, the advice, the mentorship that you need to point you in the right direction. So highly suggest looking into it. Willy told me that before the pandemic, there were about 4 accelerators, incubators in Houston. Now it's like more than 20. 27. So there is a host of resources. And also co-working spaces. So co-working spaces are great because you get to run into a community of like-minded people. You will see entrepreneurs just like you with the same struggles, the same challenges. And it's just really great to be in that environment where there's a lot of synergy, a lot of collaboration. You'll get to share ideas, best practices, what works for people, just trying to do the same thing you are doing. So highly suggest looking into all the different resources out there in terms of accelerators and co-working spaces.
I agree with you 100%. I tried one of the accelerators or incubator in 2016, and you get an answer for any question you have. Like, you have an accounting question, you will find a mentor there who can like accelerate. It's literally accelerate your process and moving forward to get the answer instead of wasting a lot of time or spending a lot of time on the internet trying to get an answer. I agree with you 100%. And this leads me to the next question about Houston and how do you compare, or how does the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem compare to other cities?
So when people move to Houston, the first thing they tell me is Houston is so diverse and Houston is so friendly. And I have to say, it's really the same. Our entrepreneurial space here is made up of so many individuals who are really committed to helping each other, and people here are friendly. Like everybody on this table, in this panel, I can honestly say by getting to know them and getting to work with them, especially like Willy, Sandra, we work closely with them. They really are dedicated to assisting entrepreneurs here in Houston. So if you really get into networking, if you get to know the entrepreneurship community in Houston, you'll find that you will see people who are really dedicated to assisting you in your journey. And then if they don't have the answers, they'll point you in the right direction. They'll point you to the right connection. Also, as Willy mentioned, the entrepreneurship ecosystem here is really growing. Houston is not just for oil and gas, for medicine. There's technology. There's so many sectors of the industry that have accelerators that are really also dedicated to specific industries. We have the Ion, we have Retail Labs, we have even like women-based places like Stash Co-working. So they have great presence already. And these places have actual, resource organizations that actually host office space there. So yeah, it's a really friendly, supportive ecosystem.
I see, like from my experience, I think Houstonians are more likely to buy or support small business rather than big business, and this is a plus. This is a plus. Thank you. Sandra, so how entrepreneurs effectively network and build relationship with other entrepreneurs, investors, and business leaders?
Well, my experience has been they do it moving through a lot of the programs that we offer because we, as Pearl was talking about, we collaborate with each other. So let me use our business plan competition as an example, or even our small business success series by HCC. What we do is we create an opportunity for entrepreneurs that have their sights set on the same goals, proposed startup or existing entrepreneurs. They want to get their business ideas together in a way that's appropriate for their situation at this time, if they're proposed or startup or existing. So we have programs that help them do that. And what we found is that we have alumni now. I've been doing this since 2010 for HCC. We have alumni that come back and go through our different programs because they're continuously evolving the future of their business. They'll go from proposed to startup to existing. And we've had people move through our competition that have evolved or updated their business plan 20 times. So the point is that you should always be doing it. And the best way to stay focused on doing that is people have a tendency to be so busy in the day-to-day operations of what they're trying to get done or their own personal lives that they need a way to stay on track. So if they join a program and they move through that program, they can stay on track and meet the milestones of that program. And then if you put a program together well, then you're connecting them not only with great facilitators on these various subjects, like the subject Willy was talking about. We cover all of those. So we do preparatory ones, give you a chance to compete, and then we also do the competition as well, so that we're bringing in funders from all over. Like with our business plan competition, we're starting training tonight for training session number 1. People apply to get in January. They take a lot of prerequisite programs to prepare them to be able to compete on an equal level with existing entrepreneurs. People say, hey, why should I compete with the existing entrepreneurs in your competition? I'm a proposed or a startup. That's not fair. And we say, well, as soon as you open your doors, you're going to be competing with existing entrepreneurs. So we're going to get you ready right now. So they take prerequisite programs, like we'll have a CE class, self-paced they could take, or they take a college credit class, like small business management, or they take our small business success series by HCC, or we'll even let them take Lift Off Houston competition. If we help with that, we train in that. We know it's a great competition. If they've gone through all the training in that, they've submitted a plan in that, they've got a basis for some strong business assumptions. They still have to submit a strong application, and then they get an opportunity to move through our business plan competition. And Willy and SCORE and lots of other mentors sign up to advise in our competition. And so they're all connected. We have 50 to 60 advisors that are going to help 30 teams move through our competition. So that's the way to get connected. You start a network, then they even connect with each other. Even though you think they're competing, they realize they're all moving through this together, and they motivate each other. So they'll end up inspiring each other to meet the goals.
I agree with you. And one thing I would like to say about the business plan competition is like the one that you have at HCC. It's you learn practical business skills, no buzzwords, straight to the business. This is what I like about it. Certain other business plan competition I went through, I was looking into like a lot of buzzwords, not realistic stuff, but like here you learn business, nothing else. It's not all about paper, and you don't have to follow a template like other business plans. I mean, you have certain templates, but like it's all about how to grow your business and take it to the next level.
It's funny that you say that, because just last night we were working on do we call this a business plan format, a template, or an outline? And it's basically an outline where we say you need to have these primary sections in your business plan, and you need to answer these questions. and then we leave it up to them, and then they have advisors who they vet their business assumptions with for months, you know, to refine and polish that, and then the advisors challenge their business assumptions so they can come up with answers and they can pivot, you know, along the way, and so by the time they get out of it, when they're ready, like for instance, April was talking about having just done a blender bar matchup. Our plans are due on May 8th. The next day we do them the last training session, a pitch training session where they learn how to pitch for a minute, for 4 minutes, and for 15 minutes, like you would to venture capitalist or a lender, like if you're speed dating with lenders, like in the lender bar matchup. And they submit a slide deck the next week, a 1-minute video. And then the very week after that, while they're still waiting to figure out if they made it to the finals, we have a lender bar matchup right there on site at our HCC Hayes campus, where they can take that plan and even have a printout of their slide deck, and they start with their 1-minute pitch with the lender, and they have 15 minutes to talk to them. They've got a slide deck, a business plan is back up, and then they go to the next lender. It's like, I mean, we mean business.
And do you still have the rewards for this year, right? Like
Then they get chosen to compete in the finals. 5 top teams, all of them are going to graduate if they do all of what we said, attend all the training, do the one-on-one advising, then submit their plan by the required date, their slide deck, their 1-minute video. They're going to graduate from the competition. 5 of them are going to win prize money. And first prize is $12,000. Second prize is $8,000. Third prize is $4,000. We have 2 honorable mentions of $1,000, but there's in-kind prizes for everyone.
Not long, not a. That's a grant, right? Yes, grant money.
Well, it's a prize money to spend on your business, toward your starting or growing your business.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And this leads me to the next question. Can you discuss like any other initiatives or programs in Houston in addition to the business competition?
Well, I'll mention the Small Business Success Series as well, because I've already mentioned it once. It's another one that we do where it's the one that you can take. And in fact, we have one happening right now that's digital. And it started, I think, last week, and now this is the second week of it. There's 5 modules. You go 12 to 2, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you graduate. There's vetting your venture, the entrepreneur in you, sales and marketing powered up, financials for small business launch and growth, and minimizing risk. And it's all the different things you've got to do to set your business up right and manage the risks in your business. And so that prepares you. That's one of those prerequisites to applying for the competition. We have another one that's starting on March 31st. We've got flyers over there. That one's on site at HCC Hayes, and you do 5 Fridays. I think we skip the Easter weekend. Like for the virtual one that April's doing right now, that one skips spring break. So there's a little bit of pauses in some of them, but basically within 5 weeks, you move through that. So the people that applied for our competition this year that didn't make it, they're moving through that, and they may even move from proposed to startup or startup to existing next year when they take a run at the competition again. So the goal for HCC is to provide a pathway from launch to exit strategy for entrepreneurs. And we find alumni from the competition come back, they sponsor it, they act as mentors in the program, advisors in the competition. So it's an amazing community that we surround these people with. So that's just what HCC. We also have, do you want to say something?
In Houston, there are 47 competitions. Sandra just mentioned 3. Wow. There are 47 every year.
You know, that's a good point, because they go from liftoff to us.
Sure.
Right. In fact, another prerequisite, we'll accept someone who's gone through the U of H SURE program, and we consider that a prerequisite program. So sometimes people go through our competition, later they'll go through SURE, or the reverse. The Houston Area Urban League Small Business Development University, we accept that as a prerequisite as well. Because if you're smart, you're going to go through a lot of these programs throughout the life of your business, because they're going to help you get with a group of motivated entrepreneurs to advance your plan to the next level. So you're never really going to have to be alone again. Because I think, I don't know if this is one of my questions, but some of those challenges that entrepreneurs face is needing continual re-inspiration, because there's so many obstacles along the way. So if you're moving through this with a group of motivated entrepreneurs, some days you're going to be motivating someone else because you're in that great space, and other days somebody's going to be talking you up from being discouraged. You get people in your family get sick, you're raising your children. There's a lot of challenges along the way, and you really shouldn't have to do it alone, especially in Houston, because we really do have one of the best ecosystems in the country.
Think about 3 letters. Educate yourself, network, plan, educate, network, plan. That's your journey.
Yeah.
That's the key to success.
Thank you. Susie?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I was late. I went to the wrong campus.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Did you find parking here?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
great. Yeah, I went to the other one, the one behind, but yeah, I was able to find parking. So, Susie, what do you see as the future of entrepreneurship in Houston, and how can local communities support its growth?
Oh, excellent question. So I think what
Susie,
like-
introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, my name is Susie Molina. I am the Director of Entrepreneurial Initiatives for Houston Community College at our Southeast campus. So I, along with April and Sandra, work together with our workshops and programs that we offer our small business entrepreneurs. I think, well, it's like he said, Houston is such an amazing place. It is really the land of opportunity for so many. There's enough business to go around. So I think what you can do is just develop a network within your business, find fellow entrepreneurs that are in the same business, or if not, have sort of tie-ins. So if you're like, for example, a balloon artist, your network is not just going to be the fellow balloon artists, but it's also going to be the bakers and the party planners and the women or the businesses who own linens, because all of those work together. Someone's having a party and she does the linens, they're going to need or caterers, photographers. Think about what your niche is, and then sort of cultivate a network within that niche, and really like a neighborhood, if you will, because within that network is where you're going to cultivate more business, and you're going to help them, and they're going to help you. So I think it's a twofold. It's the size of Houston, how big we are, and also sort of how different businesses interact. If you're a videographer, then partner with a photographer, because then together you guys can sort of build on that network. Same thing with caterers or any other thing. If you're a website builder, then get with people who are social media strategists, bloggers, because those are the types of networks within a network, if you will.
Yeah, and I have tried this strategy. It works for me. I work with other business owners, and then we were able to exchange customers or clients, and that was great. That was great. I completely agree with you. And the second question to you is, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting?
I think take full advantage of programs like SURE, like HCC's program, because they're free. They're not only free networks, but they're also free programs, and you can never stop learning. So even if you're in the initial stage, you're just trying to start up, for sure, all these opportunities. I know we work with the partnership at the Mexican consulate, and all of them are always just so astonished that we're giving them this free advice opportunity. I mean, it's worth its gold. You can never have, all advice is good advice, and the fact that you're getting it at no cost is just priceless.
Yeah, the thing is, if you search online for a business coach or business mentor, the hourly rate starting at 150.
Yes.
So you utilize these resources. And yeah.
There are something like 300 networking organizations here in town. If you don't network, you're not doing your job.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about our instructors is, even when the class ends, it's 5 modules they end, they still interact with the students long after. You build that relationship, and you're getting basically a free career coach and an entrepreneur coach for life, because I would say the majority of all of our instructors really do continue cultivating that relationship beyond the course. And a lot of times they come back, they want to just retake it because it's other networks they're building within that cohort.
Sandra, you wanted to say something?
Yes, and thank you for saying that very important thing, Susie. We have some amazing supporters of our programs, and it's been a great journey building this connection with these sponsors. Wells Fargo sponsors our whole Open for Business program, and they sponsor our Small Business Success Series by HCC. So we actually offer that to entrepreneurs at no cost. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't expect you to be there and do your part and make the most of it when you're there. When you get into a program, we want you to graduate from it, and we want to be able to tell success stories about you after it. So it's for dedicated entrepreneurs to get the opportunity to move through our programs. Same with the business plan competition. We've got recurring sponsors almost every year. All of them come back. Wallace Bank, Lift Fund, Frost Bank, Allegiance Bank are now becoming Stellar Bank, Capital CVC. We've got alumni that are now coming back again and again every year to sponsor our competition, and they serve as advisors in the competition. So when you go to the award ceremony at the end of the business plan competition, it's like you're surrounded by this little microcosm of the Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem. So talk about connecting with entrepreneurs that have gone before you and are coming behind you. You're going to feel a part of a community because we're all so much like that we're trying to get you to connect to the whole Houston entrepreneurial ecosystem. So you keep going from one program to another to continue to move your business along. So we also have people that have graduated from Goldman Sachs, 10,000 small businesses, and they're coming back and going through some of these other programs as well. You know, our minority business development agency. It's just amazing what you've got access to. You really never have to be alone again as an entrepreneur. You're going to get continual inspiration if you keep connecting and participating. You'll find your voice too.
And what's beautiful about these programs are like they are designed for every stage that you are with your business. Shore program, for example, it's for someone just starting. And the Golden Sachs, I think that one is like if you have a certain.
If you're an existing business owner and you've been in business for a while, they used to be 150,000 and 4 employees. Now it's just over 70,000. So if you get a shot at Goldman Sachs, take it because they've got 10,000 graduates, over 10,000 graduates throughout the country now, and over 1,000 just in Houston alone because of HCC. So talk about tap into a great alumni network of entrepreneurs. That's just another example. The MBDA has done great things for Houston entrepreneurs in helping to get more contracts and do exporting. So a lot of great opportunity here.
Beautiful. Now, let's jump to the Q&A. Anybody wants to add something before we jump to the Q&A?
No, other than just to echo what she said. In fact, I came across a woman that did our Goldman Sachs program probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and she was a caterer, and she was just a nimble little catering business, but now she's flourished and she's grown and she's thrived and is doing so well that now she feels compelled to give back, and she's wanting to be almost like a consultant to other caterers who are trying to start out because she feels like there are so many things she learned, and she's like, I don't want people to waste time or resources. There were things that I did that I probably, looking back, didn't have to do, and if I can save somebody that time, then I want to give them that expert advice. And so that's a beautiful thing too, to see somebody willing to. She's like, I feel like now I'm a consultant because so many people come to me and say, how did you get started? And the fact that she's willing to give her knowledge and experience is a very beautiful thing.
Beautiful. Giving back to the community. Yeah. Any question?
I guess it's more targeted towards April and Willy. You know, you guys have open door policy. How do you set an appointment? You know, how do you kind of get plugged in?
We are open, I guess, every working day from 10 to 2, and you can walk in anytime. You can make an appointment also if you want to. We always have a manager there and 2 or 3 mentors that can help you. But if you are in a specific industry, you want specific knowledge, it's best to make an appointment. Then we can assign the right person.
We are by appointment, and I do have some flyers on the table that has a QR code so you can scan and schedule an appointment with any of our business advisors. We're available from 8 to 5, and so they can schedule virtual sessions with you or Tuesdays and Thursdays in-person sessions.
Thank you.
Also, who has that clipboard that's going around the room, that green clipboard? If you sign up on that, you'll start getting information from HCC for all of our programs. Who's got that? Hold up. Okay, so if you haven't signed that yet, ask for it. Get your name on it and write clearly. Okay.
Yeah, you will stay informed with all the updates or what's going on.
Another event that happens every year is we at SCORE work very close with the SBA, and May the 3rd, every year, 3rd or 4th, we do a luncheon to give awards to the entrepreneurs that have done the best, have grown their company the best over the last couple of years. And that's a place where the whole ecosystem comes together. Most of the banks, most of VCs, most of the incubators, everybody joins in the same. Last year we had Mattress Mac coming to as a speaker, and that is pretty unique. Once you listen to him, you understand what starting up is all about. So every year we do something similar, and the next one is the 3rd of May. So look for that.
Great. Who had a question?
Yes,
Ready?
go ahead.
I wasn't aware about the business plan competition until about a couple of weeks ago. So how can I be on the list or waiting list to receive information once that comes out for the next cohort?
It usually happens all around the same time every year. So we open the application period up in January, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of great stuff that you can do this year to get ready for it. So
that was my next question.
Right. So in fact, there's a if you can do Fridays, there's a small business success series by HCC that starts on March 31st at our HCC Leaf Hayes campus, and you'll do 5 Fridays. We'll skip the Easter weekend Friday, and you'll be done by May 5th. Now, if you are like really chomping at the bit to get started right now, you could join in on April's virtual series that's happening right now, and then you can do the 3. I think we're on module 2 right now,
We're
correct?
on module 2.
So
today at noon.
Today at noon.
Right, and so that you've only missed one module. And when I was talking about this, a lot of us were at Lakewood this past Saturday, and we were telling the people there, do one module, do these modules virtual, and then come to my campus on March 31st and finish, pick up module 1, and then that way you'll have the best of both worlds. You had virtual because it was convenient, and then you came and you connected with us, and then you got to know one class I was finishing and one class I was starting, and then you still get to graduate.
Okay, what's starting on March 31st?
There's flyers over there. We're kind of lean because I gave a lot of them away at Lakewood, but go grab the March 31st one and there's virtual. 2 of them that look alike, the 2 small business success series ones. But if you sign and you write clearly on that list going around, we will send you. I got a little link that has information about all those flyers over there that I'm putting out these days. So.
And also, I'd like to add, the city of Houston also does have their business plan competition, and it's a prerequisite to the HCC competition. So we start up every year in July. So we usually launch after the holiday, after the July 4th holiday. We start in August. You pitch your business for $10,000 in November, and if you're successful in that, you do all the requirements, you're able to do the HCC competition in January. So another example of how we all work together.
Exactly. In fact, you can do the Small Business Success Series, and that helps you get a lot of your business assumptions formed. And then, if you say, now I'm going to take a ride on the Liftoff Houston competition, and you work on your plan in that, then you've got a stronger draft of a plan. And then usually what you do is you meet all the milestones, and you think, I would have done this, I would have done that if I had more time, or more things happen, and you've got to pivot here or there. So that makes you that much more ready to take a run at our competition later. And even if you go from startup for proposed to startup or startup to existing, ours is not just for proposed and startups. You can be existing. So you can grow as much as you can this year and then take a run at ours. So we say Small Business Success Series in the spring, Liftoff Houston, start that and then take a run at our competition. That's a great plan to keep growing.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that is more the periphery. At SCORE, we work also with people who have been in prison, ready to start, coming out, want to start their own business. We help them prepare themselves, and once they are out, they work. We work with OBO, for example, on the turnaround entrepreneur program. People who are in the zeros and one business. We work with Thai Academy. We mentor some of their people there. People come from other countries, come here. We work with Board Global to create an ecosystem here for them to find immigration lawyers, local CPAs, lawyers, all kind of connections that they don't have when they come here. So there are a lot of peripheral programs that exist also for all kind of other things, not just the mainstream.
Amazing. Any other questions from, I saw someone raise and they could go ahead. Sorry.
So there is a question in the chat that says the panel mentioned there are 27 incubators / accelerators in Houston, as well as 47 competitions. Where can we find a list of both items?
We are in the process of putting all that together. I was talking with Pearl this morning. We need a central repository of all these resources. And I took the initiative to start listing all of them. It's going to take another month or two before we have everything in place, but hopefully this year we'll have it somewhere centrally located.
I would say sign up to the newsletters of like Houston Community College SCORE and the City of Houston and all other programs. You will.
Very often, entrepreneurs work in their business rather than working on their business. Try to work on your business, not in your business. Try to extract yourself from the day-to-day operation and look at the bigger picture. If you don't know where you're going to go in 5 years from now, another way to look at key success for an entrepreneur is 3 letters. EMA. E for your education. The broader your education, the better. And keep on learning every single day. In my case, for the last 25 years, from 8 in the evening to midnight is my learning period. Do that 4 hours per day for 25 years, you learn a lot of things. That's using your brain. You cannot live without a brain. The second is your motivation. Why do you do what you do? What's your passion? If you don't have the right passion, you don't get there. And that's how you use your heart. You cannot live without that. But the third one, and the most important one, is your attitude. If you have a can-do, positive attitude, focus on solution and not the problem, and you have the first two, nobody can stop you. But you have to have these 3 elements.
We call that Willy wisdom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. My name is Nikki. I oversee the international programs for Houston Community College. And Houston Community College is the leading system in the country, the largest international students and scholars. So if you see, in the year 2000, that time the president was Bill Clinton, you know what he said? We really look for talent. And how do you explore the talents? It doesn't happen by default, am I right? You have to think about it. You have to have some kind of a strategy. So he thought is to think about the students and scholars that comes from around the world to study in the United States. You know how big is the industry? It is $33 billion industry. You can either talk to the Department of Commerce. It either can be an export or import. So we have scholars close to 1 million students and scholars close to 190 countries. If you see people around here, some of you are immigrants. Some of you, your forefathers and foremothers have come here before 2 or 3 centuries ago and settled in this country and make a great. It's an interesting landscape for you all to study that there are more countries in the world reinvesting in their own people to build talent. Before, the talent was only exported to most of the Western countries. I can name them: Europe, US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Now the landscape has changed tremendously because without talent, you can't build your own country. So that's what all this is about. So in front of me, I have 4 panelists. They are from 4 different countries. So I'm going to start by introducing them. Rara from Indonesia. That will be one of the biggest economy in the future. We all are working on it. And next, Saha from Libya. And Samira from Ivory Coast. And Darshan is from India. So these 4 panelists are here as a student, but they're coming from 2 tracks. Rara and Darshan are coming on a CCI program called Community College Initiative that is fully funded by the Department of State. They come here for 1 year. They're selected from their home country to come and experience the first experiment of the US Community College. So if you understand that there are very few design of the community college anywhere in the world, it's a very unique model where you earn your credits from a community college can be transferred globally. You know why? We receive the same accreditation. There are no system anywhere in the world have this model. So that's the unique part. So they come here for 1 year experiment, and then from the experiment, they return back home and explore the country based on the skills they gain. The next student came on an F1, that is Saha and Samira. They come here to gain an associate degree because we are a community college. So they learn a 2 years model and then they transfer to a 4 years school. Why choose us? And that's the answer is going to come from there. Go ahead, Rara. How did you get selected to become a CCI student?
Okay, so uh, back then in my home country, I was already working as an illustrator in educational technology company called Ruang Guru. Is the biggest educational technology company in Southeast Asia. So working in a technology company make me want to learn more. Like I search for a program or opportunity to learn from outside my country because my country is still developing country. They are still have a limited opportunity to explore a lot of things. So I found out this program, community CCI, Community College Initiative Program, and it's really interesting for me because they offer me a lot of stuff. It's not just giving me an opportunity to learn in a community college, but also internship program and volunteership programs. So I chose this program, and then they selected me with a very quite long process. It took me like 6 months. Then I end up to come in here in Houston, Texas, and meet you in this opportunity.
Thank you. So that's one track from the CCI model. And then let me hear from Saha. Go ahead, Saha. Share your journey.
Thank you. So actually, when I first came here, first came to the US, I came to Austin. I was in an English program at UT Austin, and I spent there for a whole semester studying English. I was developing my English skills, my listening, and my speaking skills. After that, I chose to go to Austin Community College, but COVID hit. When COVID hit, I had to go back to my country for personal reasons. But when I came back here, there were some regulations and policies, new policies that for international students. So I couldn't go back to Austin Community College anymore. And the best next option was for me was Houston Community College. So I moved to Houston, and actually, I would say that it was the best decision of my life. I really love Houston. Yeah, and Houston Community College really opened a lot of doors for me. I am now the president for the United Student Council, also very involved on campus. I'm also the International Student Ambassador. So there are a lot of opportunities here. I'm just so grateful that life just made you to come to Houston. So that's it.
Thank you, Saha. So you can hear the tidbits of their journey. I'm sure this will strike on your own journey about what you are exploring here in the next few days. And I'm going to ask Samira, go ahead and share your journey, Samira.
Okay, so hi everybody. My full name is Abdiatou Sidiri Samira. I came from Ivory Coast, so I used to speak French. So first, what made me come to this country is that I was referred by my aunt. She said it's a really good country to study and have higher education. And so I'm glad I accepted the offer because when I came at HCC, before I came to HCC, I didn't used to talk in front of public and be really comfortable. So when I came here, I studied by being part of the egalitarian, which helped me improve my leadership. And after that, I became an international student ambassador like Sahar. And I also stepped into the SGA. I'm also a parliamentarian for the SGA. So HCC is a really good community college, and that's something you have to advise, any students who just finish high school and want to go to a higher education. So I want to say thanks to HCC, and yeah, I'll give this speech to
Darshan, that's next is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Darshan Krishna. I am at Houston Community College. All this is because of an organization named Dream a Dream. Based on my skills and volunteering activities that I've done back in India, as well as the workshops that I've attended, they referred me to the US Embassy as an applicant. Like before applying to this program, and I had no idea that I'm going to select to this program. Like it took a long process, as Rana said, about the application, and I was not knowing I'll be coming to the Houston Community College based on the field of study that I have selected. They selected me to the Houston Community College, and the expectation that I had when I was in India, and it's full because, and it's more than full because what I was expecting is experimentation and implementation as well as learning. Along with that, I came out of my comfort zone and I used to socialize with everyone. So because of this attitude, I think I am here.
Thank you, Darshan. So you can see that some really important skills that they are gaining through this journey. I'm sure that's what you're looking for in what you are here for in terms of the tech startup. So the next thing I'm going to ask them is so important that we ask this question. It's called diversity and inclusion. So the whole world is diverse. Without that beautiful creative thinking, doesn't happen from one person. It will come from a very global mindset. So here, how has this experience have really created your diverse workforce skill?
So, as an international student, uh, diversity is really a big part of myself because uh, coming here is a huge challenge for me. Coming see a lot of diverse people, diverse background, a lot of different way of thinking, and I think it's really important how to have an inclusive environment because it's built a positive way to uh, explore creativity of myself, of how I can explore my skills, and that's all. Thank you.
How about you, Samira?
Okay, so I like the term diversity actually. So we took like every major at HCC we take psychology, and one thing you have to understand is that the opposite side of you is what really makes you the whole, because you have like your side and you have like that other side that you don't like, but if you accept that side, you're gonna be whole. So be in the most diverse HCC, sorry, the most diverse community college, like helps me like understand different type of personality and then get I would say what is the word for that? Adapt to it. So yeah, it's a skill you have to have. So if you come at HCC, yeah, like you will definitely develop that skill because we have the most international students here.
Thank you, Samira. How about you, Darshan?
You said about diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
So Houston is so diverse because till now the people that I have met is all are completely new. It's not with the same group like only Indians, only Chinese, only Lebanese, because I have seen a mix of people along with mix of technologies. So I have I have adapted few ideas from the people that I have met, and I'm still working on that to get excellent.
Thank you, Darshan. How about you, Saha?
Thank you so much. Actually, something I know for a fact that Houston Community College has the biggest international student population, and like in the nation. And actually, for me, like from my experience here, I feel like diversity and inclusion is a very big thing here at HCC. The concept of it is very respected. So I would say that from my experience here, I feel like as an international student coming from Libya and have different culture than other people, I would say I feel very valued and very respected, and that is something is very important for all institutions to have. And I think I'm really grateful that HCC values that so much, and I see that on a daily basis in class, if when I talk to people, when I socialize. So I really respect and value the community here.
Great, thank you. So the next question is about your career aspiration, and I know you have a dream, and many ways the dream shapes in multiple forms or multiple shapes. And tell me, what is your career aspiration, where you are now, and where you're going to go from here? How about you, Saha?
Okay. So, so I'm an economics major. I feel like I'm in the beginning of my career, and I'm still building on my interests and trying to figure out what I want to do, what I want to give to the world. So I'm an economics major, but I also have really passion for arts and creativity, and so I would say that right now I'm focusing on my passion for policy making. I'm really interested in politics and also some like the economic growth, economic behavior, and so the psychology part of it. And I just feel like it is time for me to explore, to see, like, and to yeah. So in terms of my like what are my short term career goals, for me, I'm looking for an internship, of course, to build upon my knowledge. I want to experience more things, and yeah, and actually also in me being at Houston Community College, taking the roles like leadership positions. I'm also a part of the Phi Theta Kappa officer position. I'm a vice president for membership. So that is something that is really helping me develop my leadership skills and technical skills. So yeah.
So as you can see, I'm going to connect her to her own country, Libya. Libya is going through a revolution now, am I right? So I won't be surprised one day she might be somebody there. So that's how we see the world. Many of my colleagues who came here 30 years ago, some of them are leading some really fascinating things around the world. So I suspect that she might be the next example because the country needs thinkers like her, leaders like her to see the world globally. So how about you, Samira?
Okay, so like this semester I will complete my associate degree, my associate of art in business, and I plan to graduate to a university and then have my bachelor's degree in accounting. But my goal is actually to become a financial manager because I like to like look at data and then tell people like if you do this will happen and all that. So yeah, that's my goal for the future.
Thank you. How about you, Darshan?
I'd like to connect what Mr. Willy said in the last one. So before doing anything, he said three words: educate yourself, network, and then plan. So when he said, I used to remember that what I have done in Houston. So when I started studying in Houston Community College, my field of study is cybersecurity, and I've started learning apart from the cybersecurity because in the future generation there are booming technologies like cybersecurity and cloud computing. And for the first point, educate yourself, I started learning self-learning along with the classes through the classes that are taken in Houston Community College. After self-learning, I used to do networking in so many education fairs as well as networking events, ION, and in downtown, only two. And there are so many, but I attended only two. Still now, I'm in the phase of educating yourself as well as networking. Once I get an internship, I want to showcase my skills to the companies that I work for, and I have to plan for my future.
Great, thank you. So we are here on a topic called Tech Rodeo. So I want to ask them, I know they already have their own track of field of studies. I want to know how tech plays in your exploration. Technology is a critical thing that connects everything. Without tech, I don't think there will be any future. Do you all agree?
Agree.
So this is what these explorers are here. So let me ask whether the Houston Community College education have exposed you to the diverse mode of technology. Go ahead, Rara.
Okay, so last semester I have a basic illustration class. So my expectation of that class is I'm going to learn how to use a pencil on the paper. But it comes beyond because my professor one day gave us an opportunity to go to AR lab, augmented reality lab. So they told us how to make an art in AR apps. It's really mesmerizing experience for me because it's really new tool for me because I just knew how to use paper, pencil on paper, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, some of stuff, but I just realized that technology is really close to art and art is really close to technology.
Samira?
Okay, so as I said, I'm a business major. So yeah, HCC really exposed us to the tech world. So you can see we have like many um, computer labs, and yeah, we had this course we called business computer application where we had to work with Word, Excel, Access, and all of those things. So yeah, I would say HCC put in the tech, and it's really important because without it, I don't think we can do anything in the future since everything is computerized. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Samira. How about you, Saha?
Okay, so I'm an economics major, and I also like to read a lot. And something that is I found fascinating when I was reading an article, it was about that. So there's this concept that when technology develops, a lot of jobs are gonna get out of the market, and a lot of people are gonna be losing jobs. But the thing is, I think that it is interesting because with technology, more jobs are actually being created. It's just that we're the jobs that are created are more sophisticated. So jobs are gonna so a lot of jobs are going to be like out of the market, but also a lot of technical jobs are going to be in the market, and people are going to have more opportunity to work in those fields. So I just found that to be a very interesting link in the economics world, economic growth, and the tech industry.
Darshan, how about you? How technology played a role in your journey, in your academic journey here?
HCC, this technology role played quite interesting because when I started studying in Houston Community College, I got to know that the syllabus that is taking in HCC is not static because they choose the syllabus which is relevant to the future generation. From this, I started learning which is required for the future generation, which is related to my field of study. Example, networking. So whatever the lights that we see now, all those are connected physically. So all these things in HCC, they used to teach us through the labs. So I think this technology is very important for me to get this practical knowledge, which is a basic foundation.
Thank you, Darshan. So we have heard from the students how academic prepare them. So now I'm going to call a subject matter expert. Her name is Miss Raki Das. She is the global leader and chief strategy officer for Cyrus Solution. So I'm going to ask her, based on what she has observed from the students, what is her take? Because she's now in the real world, leading a global workforce. How did HEC prepare them well? And how do you all see from her point of view? Go ahead, Ms. Das.
What would you like me to talk about? The technology piece of it? Or?
The technology piece of it, or the workforce piece of it?
So I think one of the things that may not have been touched on is that DEI is, thank you. One of the things, DEI is a fairly nuanced area. I mean, is DEI only race? Is DEI
allowing more women in technology? Is DEI or LGBTQ? What really is DEI? And to embrace DEI in the full sense really it requires you to take a broader spectrum of who you are and what does DEI mean to you. And what is that I component? What does that I component mean to you in terms of being inclusive with the other people who could potentially have different religious views, different lifestyle views, and forget the look and feel. So it really is a new way of looking at that. And what's also interesting about DEI is when we go talk to we run a consulting company, our European partners, they're not allowed to ask in Europe. They're not even allowed to ask you if you're a girl. So according to GDPR rules, they're really trying to create a DEI environment without really getting in trouble with the government. So it's really a beautiful way, a bottoms-up way that I really encourage young people to think about life as a truly DEI human being. What does that mean to you? And how far would you step out of your own comfort zones to really make someone else feel inclusive? In terms of technology, what we're seeing in the market is interesting. Firstly, women is a shortage in tech continues to be. I read something interesting in India this year, which was bizarre. The Indian women workforce has dropped to 19%, which is what the Taliban used to be in Afghanistan in 2021, which is a crazy number. So for some strange reason, women in general are having a hard time staying in the workforce. The fact, so going into the workforce, we typically have about 50%, 48% women, 52% men is the general strategy, is the general dynamics. At the C-suite, it drops to under one for every 4 guys, you have 1 girl. And so it's that component of gender is still something that maybe you want to be thinking about as you plan your careers. How do you stay as one of the 4? What prevents you? What gets you that first promotion, which is a big roadblock, and what keeps you in the job market? Do not quit, girls. Do not quit. I mean, that's the biggest issue for girls. But in terms of technology, cybersecurity is still the #1 thing this year. Oh my goodness. And anyone who has a phone of any shape or kind knows the challenges with cybersecurity. And I think companies are figuring out what to do with AI, but that's more like a road. It's like a roadmap. What is AI? What does AI mean to me? And what is the future of AI? Because for the majority of companies, even today, they have to finish what's known as digital transformation. They have to become a digital company in order to fully embrace the technologies of tomorrow. So digital transformation and everything related to that, which means going to the cloud, digitalization, bringing in new software system, integrating your software, taking your back-end data, making it. I mean, this year, if you look at the job market, SQL, which is data programming people are still huge, just because companies are just still backlogged with how much data they have. But one is now and one is next. I came here with an F1 visa many, many years ago, and life was kind to me, insanely kind, and I managed to do what I managed to do. I have a family. I have I have girls. I'm raising 2 girls who are going to go on to do wonderful things. The one trick is to be really relevant today with an eye in the future. So you have to be really relevant today. If you are talking, I am a crazy good AI programmer for what most of our clients are, what our energy, what the field will need, but there's not enough added value that people are seeing today. There's a gap. So to stay really 1 foot now, 1 foot in the future, very similar to what you're saying, keep learning. That's the one thing you can do as quickly as the world is turning, learn. But in terms of general strategy, your illustration is going to get you. I mean, look at the AI-generated illustration. It's crazy. Look at economics. Economics is becoming more and more data jargon than anything else, and data analytics. What is your role? In terms of financial modeling, I mean, that's like so a couple years ago, I used to be head of innovation in Artgro. So a few years ago, it was the robo analytics, which was a part. going into the future, the younger people don't even want to talk to other people. So the world of financial modeling is quickly being swept away with just pure data. Your world is an interesting world. If you're going to be a pure tech person, then you keep changing, and morphing with time. But it really is that combination of being truly inclusive, one foot now, one foot in the future. And I have found it.
No, I don't think. No, she. Thank you. Ms. Das brought some really value added to what the students' exploration is. Talking about women in tech, it's a very important field. That as she said, how India is going through some major challenges, and how do you keep these people on board? They bring great value to what we all do together. You can't just isolate them. You can't just exclude them. That's a very important point Ms. Das added, because learning doesn't have boundaries. Learning doesn't have colors. Learning doesn't have visa. Learning doesn't have immigration. So that is the great thing that she has opened the door for all of us to think and be mindful. And she said something very important about how she engaged her kids. Think today pragmatically and also keep an eye in the future. How do you balance that? That something is so important. Every skill that we learn today, and I know this very well, happened to me. Every 5 to 7 years, you might be you enjoy the job, but year 4, year 5, it becomes a mundane routine. And then you say, like, you know what? I'm done with this. I want some more. I want to experiment different things. I think she brought something very valuable to always think about what you're doing today might not take you the next 10 or 15 years because the world is changing in every aspect. Humanity changes. As you can see, the war is happening right now in Ukraine for whatever reason. So things are changing, and how do you adopt? How do you go along with that path? And she brought some really very critical analysis to what our students are exploring here in the field today, because 5 years from now or 10 years from now, they'll be sitting like you exploring other things. It'll be good to ask the same panel, how have life changed you? All right? I also want to make sure there are time for the audience to ask questions to these panelists. All right. I want to make sure I keep the time within the 10:45 minutes. Go ahead.
This question is for Samira. Sorry if I jumped in your name. You interested that you were interested in data and analytics. Are there any specific industries or topics that interest you right now that you're kind of wanting to know more about or drill down into?
Okay, so one industry that really interests me is fashion. That's really fun. Yeah, fashion. Fashion. Sorry. So fashion. So yeah, that would be a pleasure for me to work with, like, in the fashion industry. But also, I like cars. That's something I like to. So either both of them, that will work. Thanks for asking the question.
Go ahead.
I'd actually like to hear more about like the country you're coming from and like what you're planning on taking back, or more like theoretically, like the Houston startup ecosystem isn't as well known as like Silicon Valley or Austin, but like we're growing, and there are other ecosystems out there in the world like that too. So I want to hear more about your country and kind of like how is the small business and startup ecosystem, like how is that developing, what are the challenges you're facing, and things like that.
Okay, so I came from Ivory Coast. It's like West Africa. And compared to here, in Ivory Coast, you don't have too much technology because the country is in development. It's not like a big country. So the difference between here and there is like, I'll say here is more, as I said, there's more technology here, and life is, I'll say, easier here because they're like, for assignments, it's more difficult. So yeah, the technology is like the biggest difference. And also, I'll say the people, like in Ivory Coast, people are more like, I'll say, reserved. But in here, there's more like opening, there's more opportunities. So,
how about you, Rara?
Okay, so I come from Indonesia. Indonesia is it's a fourth biggest country, and our economic is still growing so fast, but still there's a lot of barrier in a lot of stuff. And for my major for my field of study, animation, they still have a lot of limitation. That's why I eager to learn more in here because yeah, a lot of huge animation studio come from the United States. Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks. That's why this experience here is really valuable for me to not just for me, but maybe later I can just open up an opportunity bigger for other friends, other future animator.
Great. How about you, Saha?
Thank you. So I'm from Libya, and as Mr. Nithi said, Libya right now is going through some economic instability, but and also like when it comes to small businesses, it is not very digitalized. That's why it's a great point about like the digital transformation. I think it's very important that it gets more promoted and for people to kind of like normalize it in their normal life, everyday life. Yeah, so I think me studying here, coming here, seeing like how the businesses here work, how like what is normal here should be also normalized in a country such as Libya. And I think that's something that I can bring back there and promote with people for young people. And I think that is a mission that I'm really gonna be passionate about. Thank
How
you for
about
the
you,
question.
Darshan?
As he asked about my country as well as what I'm going to do after going back to my country. So about my country, India, it's the second Silicon Valley, and there are so many startups going on and still going on in India. The only thing that differs India and USA is in United States you can learn, implement, and understand. In India, you can learn as well as implement, but they used to focus more on implementation. Whether it fails or it wins, implementation is first. But here, first learn, go all the go. I don't know what word. Yeah, track all the possibilities and then implement. So what I'm going to take back to my country is whatever I have learned. I started like showcasing my skills in LinkedIn by posting as a video whatever I have learned. And once I go back, right now I'm doing online. Once I go back, I want to teach students about the skills that I have learned, and I want them to be in the technical field and develop my country.
Can you see the four perspectives? They're not one way or one design or one thinking. Any more questions from the audience? Go ahead, Ms. Das.
Actually, it's for you, Darshan, and that also for you, Ryan. What makes you think that this learned way is the better way?
I didn't get your question.
So I implement. That's how I still do. I jump at it, and then if I find it's wrong, it's wrong. So I prefer the Indian way of operations to there's a lot of analysis here, what is the current way of life, and I usually jump at the analysis, implement. Half the times figure out I'm wrong, and half the times I'm saying, look, I saved that 6 months. So what, in your opinion, made you think that the analysis way is the better route to be doing things?
I can give you my example for this. Before coming here, me and my friends were doing a small startup. Like there is a startup, like it's a normal business in United States. We were doing in Bangalore. Yeah, we were doing a business for around 5 to 6 kilometer radius. A business named my business named as Cookable. So the person, those who doesn't know how to cook, using my product, they can cook whatever they do. So it was going good for a few months. Later, when pandemic hits, it got stopped. But I didn't took much risk on it because whatever the investment that I was getting is from the orders that I was getting. I didn't put extra money for that. Like once the order gets, I used to bring everything, pack everything, and get small amount of profit from it. So once I go back, I want to implement that and I want to bring that to a higher level. So for her case, I didn't do much analysis, but I got to know that during pandemic it got decreased. But right now I'm in Houston. I'll be doing more analysis on it during my free time, and I'm gonna implement that.
How about you, Rara?
For me, I think
Rara,
it's
dari mana? City are you from?
what? Dari mana? Oh, that's really yeah. I'm from I live in Jakarta for 3 years, but I originate from Sumatra. Yes. So for me, it's about balance. It's whether implementation or analysis. Sometimes if we are too focused to our goals and forgot to look around, we can miss our goals. We not enjoying how the exploration or our process. But if we are doing just exploration, analysis, and going around, we forgot our goals. So we need to hold two of those in the equal, not an equal, but we have there's a time we need to focus on our goal. There's the time we need to focus to look around, to explore. I think both of them is really important.
Great. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
In the sharing and daring to be and make a difference in various cultures experiences of infusing instead of giving or witnessing having other ethnically minded people. So yourself being future global mentors by you. What have you noticed in reference to this being the last day Black History and Black Heritage with USA Vice President being a woman of color and also the NFL having the first all women Black bio for the Super Bowl?
You heard the question? It's about the woman of color, the Black History Month currently, and we have Miss Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States. So what is your take? What is your view as being in a diversity like this? Who wants to take the tackle?
I think it's great that we have representation. Like I think as a country like the U.S., I think it's great to have representation from diverse backgrounds. Having women to take leadership roles is a really important thing, and yeah, I think that it is part of the progress, and it is going great.
Go ahead.
So I think it's good. Like it's really good for the learning since we diverse and we can learn from each other cultures. So I think it can be nothing but.
Thank you. How about you, Rara? Any thoughts?
Okay, so Indonesia itself is have really diverse colors. So I found out back then that some of my friends from the eastern part of Indonesia have darker skin. They feel that they not represented yes enough in my country. But it's really amazing how United States have that representative in their country. So people from all colors, all backgrounds, all stuff can be included.
Question?
Coming to the Black History Month, it's very good to see the people in United States respect others, like not caring about the color, religion, or anything, and that's made me more high level expectation of the United States. Like you can see everyone, not even a black, white. You can see everyone working in any sector, like from driving to the flight and pilot.
Great. Thank you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What was your initial thought of the US Houston watching all these getting to this country? That's one of the problems. Here, my son is born out of here. They are so really appreciate or see the way that we see when you
come from other culture, what is great about what in there. From your perspective, what you were thinking before getting here, once you got here, what amazed you? What is your
The panel is open. Anyone
Okay.
can type in. Don't restrict on your right. It's an open forum.
So what I like about this country is the liberty and the opportunities. Because you can see a 14 years old CEO here, and then nobody's gonna be like, she's young enough, she doesn't have the experience, she cannot do it. But if you go in my country, you will see, if, for example, a 14-year-old person come and say, I want to open a candy shop. They'll be like, no, you just have to go to school, wait until you're, I don't know, 25 before you do anything like that. So that's what I like about this country. There's like this, like, I would say this, there are like a lot of opportunities for everybody. And I think us as international students, we should take advantage of that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, I would actually like to expand on that. It's actually before coming here, my father used to always say that the US is the land of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities here. Wherever you go, you might just stumble upon someone and you can just, maybe connect in a way and you just, maybe start a business together or find an internship opportunity. So I just think that it is great that, especially here in Houston, the diversity of so many things, of industries. So so I think it is the land of opportunities, and that is very true. And that is something as international students, something to definitely not to sleep on and to actually work on that. Yeah.
Great. Anybody else?
I also want to expand on Sandra. So, I got an opportunity to have an internship, a project with the director of education of City of Houston, Louvier. So now I'm working on making a children book illustration about my home country. So it's really like, I didn't expect that before. I can come and met her and talk with her to have this project. So yeah, that's a proof of living in US, having a lot of open opportunity.
Great. Darshan, you want to expand or you want to give your own thought?
Can you repeat the question?
That's a good one.
When you are growing up and getting for a mentor, also some kind of feel right? When I was 20 years old, I come to here, my mom doesn't want to go to America. So one of the reasons is going and cannot nobody's there. That's kind of stuff. Sometimes they talk right. And once you come here and study, you look at very, very different what you experience. So from your perspective, do you have some experience like that? What you were thinking before
Coming
when
to
you came here, what you see?
Before coming to Houston, I was expecting a quality of education in America will be like every student will be at the same age. But when I came here, I got to know there is no age for education. Like if you want to learn, you can learn. But in India, everyone will be at the same age. And that's the new thing that I got to know. And before coming to Houston, I was having some plans. Will I be getting an opportunity to socialize, to involve in all the activities? And that's true. Everyone will receive it. The only thing is you should come out of your comfort zone.
Great. Well, explorers, it's 10:48. I'm also on a time crunch because right after this, I have to run to another place called Huntsville. I got 120 kids and reading them on a camping trip. So, what I'm going to tell with you now is you can see that these are future leaders. But they are thinking now that you all are exploring your whatever tech world belongs to right now. So they have set us something for y'all to think and also give you an opportunity to ask them more questions after these or network with them. They all are looking for exploration, whatever that's going to be. Because today I know, I talk to so many tech companies, you don't have to be hiring them using US immigration policy. You can hire them anywhere in the world. You don't have to be here. Amazon does that quite a bit. I know that they have warehouses in different parts of the world to make sure they have the best talent. So talent shouldn't be only in one place. Talent can be anywhere. And you are explorers, you want to work 24 hours because you know you're passionate about it. And they are also passionate about what they're going to explore. With that said, I'd like to say thank you to the panelists, thank you, Ms. Das, and thank you everyone who are here this morning to cheer them along on their journey. I'm sure they will cheer you on your journey as well. Thank you, everyone.
Photo op really quick, folks. If you want to be in the photo, stand up. If you don't want to be in the photo, stay seated. We'll take a photo this way. This is good stuff here. For folks online, we're going to go mute, and our next panel starts at 11 on artificial intelligence.
My name is Igor Lucic. I'm currently a student at HCC studying computer science, but soon I will be transferring to AI. When we start this panel, would you please share who you are, your background, and your passions?
Okay, so my name is Risa Myers. I'm an assistant teaching professor at Rice University. I teach databases and data science, and mainly I teach data science to non-computer scientists. So my passion is education and technology. I did my PhD very late in life. I did it in my 40s, so it's never too late to go back to school.
Okay. My name is Aruna Viswanathan. I'm the co-founder of a upstream AI software company in oil and gas. I'm also on the board of the Texas Innovation Center, which is at UT Austin. I think I'm going to be providing the workforce side of the perspective on the panel. My passion, although I'm an electrical engineer by background, I've really found out that sometimes in life, the fields that you wanted to be a part of didn't exist when you were in college. And so really, I think that I've learned over time that I'm kind of a data junkie and really enjoy all aspects of metrics and tracking. And so probably not a big coincidence that I ended up in the data science AI area later in my career. But that is my passion, and we really enjoy bringing you new and very innovative products to market.
I'm Raymond Brown. With a team, I've started the artificial intelligence program at Houston Community College. That is a growing effort. We've graduated just a year ago, the first graduates from our 2-year program. And we've gotten approval for a 4-year bachelor program, which will start in this coming fall. My background is in physics, which I got the degree in many decades ago. I won't say how long ago that was. But I was attracted to artificial intelligence partly because of my wife, who has been an interested studier of artificial intelligence and robotics for decades. With the opportunity of switching from the physics department to the digital information technologies group, I've gotten great satisfaction out of starting unabashedly workforce program to train people in artificial intelligence. And I'm really appreciative of the work that the PhDs in computer science and data science have generated, the models by which we can train community college students, no prerequisites at all to enter either of those programs, to use those models to solve business problems. And that's our goal, because we foresee the need, in fact it's already existing, the need for thousands of AI implementers, people who can generate AI solutions to business problems. So that's the goal of the program.
Awesome. Thank you so much for volunteering your time here today and be able to meet the panelists and answer questions later. So this first question goes off to everybody. We could just kind of go one at a time here. So what directly inspired you to get involved in the field of artificial intelligence? I guess we can start with Dr. Brown.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, for years I was teaching engineering students the introductory physics courses, which I always thought was beautiful. You know, classical field theory is a beautiful topic, and they weren't terribly interested for the most part. Well, let's see. About 4 years ago, I did get the opportunity to talk with people in this digital information technology group, and realized that there was an implication there that I could actually start an artificial intelligence program. So I worked teaching cybersecurity courses for a year, so becoming a full-time faculty member, and that was the beginning. I mean, the whole goal was to create this program, and didn't really expect it to become a 4-year program, but that opportunity arose and we jumped at that as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
So I kind of alluded to it earlier, and I think that most people are going to have multiple careers in their career. And so part of going through your life transition of careers is understanding kind of where the leading signs are. Like not only what are you interested in, but then what are you naturally good at? And sometimes those are what you're interested in and naturally good at are highly convergent, and sometimes they're adjacent, and sometimes they're actually perpendicular. Like I'm good at accounting, but I absolutely hate it, you know? So in my case, I think the leading indicators were always there. Like my dad talking about neural networks when I was a child, you know, taking advanced math classes in college. And then working in the field of semiconductors, where I was doing lots and lots of volumes of data and trying to figure out quality control and processing and writing programs to help figure out, you know, what was failing, what wasn't failing, how to test chips, things like that. So I always had the sort of inclination, but it didn't actually converge until I think the field itself got past having the cloud behind it to be able to use a lot of those things. And that's when I started to canvas the environment and say, I'll take the second skill, which I already knew I was good at, which was operating small companies, to go find a company that needed an operator, but who also really enjoyed the mathematics and data science. And so that's how I ended up where I am, which is invited in by other co-founders to join a company that works in this area.
Thank you so much.
So I want to share that you don't have to come from a home background that talks technology, right? My dad was in the Navy. He never went to college. Okay. I have a PhD. Okay. So it's great when you have that early exposure, but it's not required. So I've had multiple careers. My first degree was in computer science. I worked as a software engineer. I worked as a project manager. The turning point for me was when I was working at the medical center. I always loved healthcare, right? How do we make a difference in lives? How do we save lives or save money and improve care? And I was building a data warehouse, right? Taking the data from the electronic medical record, where you go see the doctor and they record your information, and turning it into a form where people could ask longitudinal questions. And that's when I realized I didn't want to build a data warehouse. I wanted to use it. I really wanted to be able to make a difference. I wanted a seat at the table with the MDs, the other docs. And so that's what inspired me to go back to grad school. And I was lucky to be able to take that time in my life to do it. So I went back and I was able to get a degree in computer science here at Rice. And I did it in machine learning. And so that's really what transitioned me into this field of data science. I got that degree. After I finished, I went back to the Med Center for a year and then decided I had the opportunity to start teaching, and I really enjoyed the teaching.
Excellent. Well, on the same foot of education and AI, excuse me, I think a lot of people are also talking about the unethical usage of AI in education, primarily like ChatGPT being used for essays, for example. How would you ensure that AI is being used ethically in the field of education?
Great question. So ethics is a big deal. A lot of programs now require ethics classes, so that you're going to see more and more of that. ChatGPT is a tool. Okay, just like when Wikipedia came out, it's a tool. It's a game changer. But ChatGPT makes stuff up, right? You've got to know, is this the right answer or not? So it's a starting point. It doesn't provide citations, right? At least if you go to Wikipedia, you can read what it says, and then here's the original sources. But ChatGPT, you don't know if it's true or not. So you have to be an intelligent user of it, and maybe it becomes a starting point. And it's not just for students, but it's also for faculty, right? If we want to come up with different examples or different level explanations, we can use ChatGPT as well to help save time with some of that processes. So I read an article the other day that the essay writing companies are going out of business now. So in some ways, ChatGPT is an equalizer. People who can't afford to hire somebody else to write an essay, now everybody has access to it. And now, what if we instead take it and start with it in a class? Right? I teach data science. We're not writing essays, but what if you start with, here's what ChatGPT said. What does your essay look like now? Right? Rather than pretending it doesn't exist, how do we use it and leverage it and use it to inspire critical thinking?
Same question applies to Dr. Brown. Do you have any other thoughts on how AI could be used ethically in education?
Yes, and like as was mentioned there, ethics is one of the topics that has to be addressed. With respect to ChatGPT, we talked a little about we train students at learning what GPT is and how it developed. So the ChatGPT is now basically GPT version 4, 4.5 maybe by today. The issue is this is a tool, and it's a new piece of technology that can be used in teaching and learning, and it should be approached that way. Now, my approach to, I think many of the traditional standards of education have to be changing with these technology advances. I have become a great fan of what's called formative assessment, where rather than me designing questions that I think the students should have learned the answers to and testing them on those, AI is too hard to feel to do that very genuinely. So I'm more interested in pointing teams of students. We have them working teams because if they have a career in artificial intelligence, they are going to be working in teams with a great disparity of people with different experiences, domain experiences in business, maybe the marketers, etc. They're going to need to work with, and they'll have some strong coders probably on their teams as well. But it's an enormous field. Basically, we present a synopsis in the content material of the kinds of things that are going on in particular areas of artificial intelligence. And I point the teams at various arenas in which AI becomes important. And tell them to dig where they're interested, and then come back and report as a technical report from the team, attributing contributions that what they learned, what activities they engaged in order to dig deeper into the topic, and what they learned from doing that. I found that I learn a lot more about what they learned by doing that. And that it's a very successful learning technique. So I'm happy to continue that emphasis at this point.
Amazing. So Aruna, What advice would you give to educators today to prepare them for working, the skills for the workplace of tomorrow for AI?
Well, it's as it's so evolving. There's a lot of things that I think are coming up, and so one of the things is having a lot of industry footprint and advisory to help the schools. I think that's really important because it's very much a practical use application. We see it everywhere, growing so fast, and I think of it like there's an ecosystem being built around it. I think of AI as as an enabling disruptive technology, like we thought of the internet back, years of 20 something years ago. And that is to say, when the internet came up, people said, well, we're going to lose our jobs. Travel agents are going to displace, banking is going to change, everything is going to change. And people were very, very worried about losing jobs. It's interesting to be in a place where everybody's excited about it because they're like, oh, I can get a job. If you go out in industry and talk to people, people are worried to death that they're going to lose their jobs. And there's going to be this displacement, but I believe that in the end, there's going to be more jobs net created as a result of this than taken away. So there are people whose jobs are going to become more effective and productive, and then there's going to be a whole other new jobs. And so some of which I don't think are defined yet, but I'd like to kind of maybe point to some things that we see as a company that deploys AI solutions into the marketplace in the scientific area. So the first is you don't need to your point, be a pure data scientist to work in AI. If you have a strong background in statistics and understanding of that is a huge value for interpreting the results and accuracy of AI models, for example, assessing model drift, ensuring the QA and even the ethics of AI. All of those outcomes of AI models, which are measured through statistics and analysis and understanding of accuracy, are going to be performed by people who have QC and statistics sort of backgrounds. There's also data engineering, because everybody who's in this field knows that the data scientists build off of what the data engineers ultimately put together as good data. So data engineering, analysis, so that you can feed all those models that he's talking about has to be there, and there's a vast shortage of data engineers. There's also a very interesting problem that we have, which are project managers. So the project management side of AI work is so different than a typical project management. So project management in its old linear form was Microsoft project, and you walk through a project, right? And then we got to software development, which was agile. And so there was agile software development. Well, AI is even different than agile software development because it's done in iterations. You start with a data set, you build something, then you prove something, then you can add more data, and it continues to, and there's no end, right? So there's not this place where you just put it on the shelf and say, it's done now, I don't have to worry about it. No, the model has to be monitored, it has to be updated, it changes the way the products are sold, because now you have to actually maintain the models. And so you have a field of people that have to do all this. And they're not just the people who write the models. So I'll just stop at that and say there's a lot more out there.
It's the data junkie's job.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and it's fun, right? I mean, that's something I've always enjoyed at that pipeline, and cleaning up the data and getting it ready. A lot more time is spent preparing your data than actually modeling.
And then on the outside of a product, it's monitoring the outcomes and the drift and everything else that comes into play.
Changes in data.
Opportunities for learning are sprouting in areas where we wouldn't have imagined previously.
Yeah.
We've got a cohort, a group of students, maybe 25 or 30, who are joining a sideshow of South by Southwest later this month or next month. next month.
2 weeks from now.
Yes.
And they initially the idea was that these students would be involved in a red team challenge, one cybersecurity. But in developing the idea, it's become more a matter of prompt engineering and making use of the large language models. And how do you develop effective prompts to a large language models to get the kind of information back that you need. That seems that's a new kind of job that has suddenly appeared in the last couple of months, actually, and it's being talked about in professional arenas very heavily. Another thing that I'd like to mention is that we're finding students coming into our AI program who have no coding history and not a strong mathematics history, but they've been playing computer games a lot and developing graphics capabilities, expertise with handling graphics tools. And they jump on the AI possibilities of, say, the Omniverse or 3D virtual environments where they can, their design skills put them in a dominant position of actually creating these digital twins of businesses and factories. And the digital twins of manufacturing sites, for example, are fascinating because not only can you go in with photogrammetry and LiDAR scanning to actually build a three-dimensional digital twin, but then you can populate that with digital humans doing work in the organization, digital twins of the equipment, the machines, where you're building in sensor data, and to actually make those models work to an effective degree involves synthesizing an enormous amount of data and learning how to reasonably synthesize data is becoming another kind of job opportunity that didn't exist before.
Perfect. That actually leads me to my next question. What steps would you like for us to take to reduce the barrier of entry to AI for students with backgrounds and resources that limit them?
Pressure on human resources departments and corporations. They're still, for the most part, requiring a bachelor's degree in technical area. I've got students who come in with enormous capabilities, but no degrees at all because of their work history. Those are people that corporations need to hire. A local corporation that came to one of our developer group meetings, he was with, I'll mention the company, it's Texas Instruments. And seeing what our students were learning to do, said, we've got thousands of jobs that they could fill just with what they're learning in your courses. Another person from Shell who happened to visit one of our laboratories and looked at students doing machine learning and with small robots, said, if your students can do this, we've got thousands of jobs for them. The problem is, and both of them mentioned this, that we can't get them okayed by human resources to be hired. So I think a lot of pressure is building up to have procedures of human resources departments and corporations open the doors to students that would make great employees, but don't have the credentials that had been previously required.
Well, I agree. I'll also add that often a bachelor's degree isn't considered enough. A lot of companies want to see an advanced degree in the area. I guess when you sent us some questions earlier, and when I first thought this question, I thought of it a different way, which is I teach in the data science minor at Rice, and I don't teach. In fact, this semester the only computer scientist in the room is me. Right, that was intentional, right? There's another class that the computer scientists can take. How do we make data science more accessible? And one is getting the right people in the room who have a similar background, and the similar background may be not computer science. And also, how do we reduce barriers, right? I do a lot of cloud computing in my classes because that way it doesn't matter the quality of the computer you have, right? All you need is a way to get to the internet, and then you have all the computing power you need. We use Amazon. Amazon has an Educate program. They donate cycles for us. So that's something we use to make things more accessible. Yeah, I think there's still that issue of the barriers, and I think every job is going to start having a data component. So I think we're going to see people are interested in seeing what do you have in that area in addition to whatever your certification is, or your education, or your experience.
Actually, that leads me to my next point. Aruna, how do you think AI is going to change the job description skill sets for the future?
Yeah. So I think that the people in high school, I mean, hopefully you get to take algebra 2, right? But if you didn't take algebra 2, and you could take statistics, you might take statistics instead of algebra 2. That's one thing I can see happening. I mean, ideally you can do them both. The other thing I can see is there's a stronger need for critical reasoning. Reasoning skills are just so important in an age of disinformation and also bad information, even studies online. But it's even worse if you think about people relying on, AI tools that you could freely access on the web to give you answers, and then you don't apply critical thinking to whether those answers are correct. And then those same skills will then help in explaining to people AI, right? Because the explainability of AI is a whole other issue. We have projects that we finish a project and give it to a customer, and they're like, I don't understand it. It's like, okay, well, this is what happened here. And like this morning, I was trying to explain to somebody, it's like a recipe. We gave you a fluid design recipe off of looking at thousands of previous experiments. But people are still struggle with it because they don't come from a background where data or statistics is important. So storytelling, and then to your point, I just want to say that the graphics design, that the whole interacting is so important, because there's a whole generation of new software that's going to be out there that does scenario analysis and works at the speed of thought. Right. And it's going to be made possible. Yeah, and it's not going to be just like walking through a linear system, but it'll be like going around in a universe, and the AI models will allow that to all converge. But at least for my simple answer, statistics, critical reasoning, math.
Excellent. I think that's very insightful. And I think for this part, we'll open up the floor for questions for I believe we have this gentleman at the front here.
One statement and two questions. There's no real AI without natural intelligence. Think about that. You need to be able to speak, be able to think about it, be smart about it, and use it the right way. Two questions. I have a big problem with the quality of data. You don't spend enough time, efforts on making sure the data is checked, double checked, triple checked. I see too much political influence in data, too much propaganda, too much lies, too much lack of ethics in data. The quality of data is something I would like you to comment on. And the second question is, what do you think is going to be the impact of quantum computers once they get available? What's that going to influence AI.
It's an open floor, so.
Okay, the quantum computing question. It's certainly going to make a difference in cybersecurity because the RSA model will be destroyed as soon as Shoals um, uh, algorithm can be replicated and flows through the economy. And I'm not sure what the answers because it's unclear to me what um, I know that quantum computing will open doors for cybersecurity as well, but I'm not sure what those doors are at this point. Um, it's going to be an historic development, and we need to be thinking about it before it happens. Um, another aspect for your first statement, we know that human intelligence has to grow along with our artificial intelligence. Otherwise, we'll end up with two dystopias. One where a monumental, omnipotent AI rules people and makes slaves of human beings, and the other is that human beings make slaves of the AI. It needs to be a partnership. Um, to be for all to get the most benefit from it. It needs to be a partnership between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
I'm going to let you talk about
Okay.
the data
I'll talk
side,
about
and then
data.
I have another
Sure.
comment later.
So data is always an issue, the quality of data. What I'm hoping is as we continue to collect more data, we will compensate for some of those gaps. And this is back to the critical thinking skill that you mentioned earlier. It's really important to look at the data and say, does this make sense? Is there something missing? Why is it missing? How do I use it? Stresses the importance of ethics, right? Where is this data coming from? If we're looking for crime in a neighborhood, we're going to find crime. Let's make sure we look in all the neighborhoods, not just in some neighborhoods. Okay. So how do we? It's an ongoing challenge, but as we get more data, hopefully we will get better at it. And then there's a lot of tools out there to help you identify issues with your data and clean up your data.
I had a comment about like how if you think about like online systems, like I have children, right? And there's like a typing tool. I'm going to give basic concepts. The basic typing tools on the web. You can find 100 free typing tools on the web. But when I made them learn how to type, I used a program which I had to pay for, but it was very rigorous. And on the back end, the parents could log in and see that the kid was actually doing better, that they were logging their time, they were actually doing better, they were learning it, and there was a metric of progression towards the goal. And we can throw a bunch of things out there, but if there's no control systems for it built into that, then I think that that's where I worry about like not being actually even for a student tool, right? Like a tool that doesn't have an educator giving access to a tool that doesn't have any way of knowing whether the tool is actually providing a benefit, right? Or if it's drifting or something else is going on. So I worry about the back end integrity systems that will have to come up to ensure that those things happen properly. And maybe they're another AI system, quite frankly. Like are they called GANs?
Another question from the audience?
I'm sorry.
That the AI is the sexy part of the pyramid or of the iceberg, let's say. That is closer to the user. That's the fun part. But to make that happen, you need data architects that are looking at the different data that are structured and they put it all together. They are making democratization of the data for everything to happen. So there are tons of job opportunities and careers only on that, and also tools and certifications that keep learning about like data representation and all of that to make that part of the iceberg with good quality enough that the AI and all the data solutions are going to be working correctly. So there's a whole ecosystem of job opportunities, career opportunities, specialization to representation that is almost endless. Super interesting.
I think architecture is a solution to any problem that is being addressed. Any application is a necessary first step, and everyone has to agree that that architecture is going to give them an effective solution. And you probably know that.
Yeah, and actually, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and it's a more complicated one, that most software engineers don't understand complex math. So when you they don't go into computer science because they took 3 rounds of calculus. So anyway, and of course even the computer science ecosystem is like there's a CS major, and then there's MIS majors, and there's system implementators, and then there's the guy who powers a couple of Access or BI dashboards or something like that, right? But the point is that to actually implement an AI model requires somebody who understands how to code math, and it's a non-trivial thing, and there's not many of them, and the more complex the math, the harder it is to find those people.
Also change management. How many excellent applications are not used at the corporate level because people are afraid of losing their jobs because of technology and not understanding what the benefits are and why should I do it. So change management or data is also a big source of opportunity for people in the workplace.
Causes huge distress. I can tell you, causes huge distress. A lot of people don't want it in the company.
The question for the panelists: you guys are representing AI in Houston. Who or what or where do you get your source of knowledge, information? Can you share any that you may have for the benefit of our student community?
Okay. AWS Machine Learning University was a real starting point for our AI program. Intel has training also. It's a good place for anyone to learn. NVIDIA's Deep Learning Institute is a treasure. It's a treasure as far as I'm concerned. Even lesser known companies like Wolfram Research, another national treasure. And they've done a lot of work in artificial intelligence that's not generally recognized. So the Wolfram language is not one people immediately think of Python and C++, but the Wolfram language allows one to use those and then take advantage of the advantages of Wolfram language and the availability of GPUs, graphical processing units, to parallelize the computations. Another relatively recent development is field programmable data rates, FPGAs, which provide another path to parallel processing. And I think that's going to be growing field and some option for NVIDIA perhaps.
I was going to say, so I have the benefit of being at Rice, and my colleagues are leading edge in this field. So they give talks, and we bring in speakers, and from there you look at some of the peer-reviewed literature to see what's out there. I'm on a couple of mailing lists that, okay, what's going on in machine learning? Some of those things kind of work well for me. Yeah, although I read a lot.
Follow-up question. Any conferences you recommend? Or
so I'm more in the pedagogy space these days. So I teach data science. So the big ones, they're very academic, are KDDs, which is from the Association for Computing Machinery, or NeurIPS. SIAM is another organization in math for people who are into the space. Again, it's kind of broad, but it's a lot of this is very academic.
I guess what I'm thinking is I'm going to be mainly online because I don't get to go out much. But if you look at like there's so much open source AI out there, right? And then I would be looking at the open source courses that allow you to learn it online. And then I guess I would also be looking at just like the competitions, because quite honestly, if you can, that's one way of doing it, right? If you get involved with any of the competitions or hackathons where you can demonstrate that you have got it down and that you are better than your peers, then for sure, then I think that helps. Yeah.
I don't think any discussion of conferences should leave out the NVIDIA's GTC conference, which is twice a year, and it's probably the biggest thing. And it's all about applications. So it's been a great benefit to our students. Have them choose the sessions that you want to hear, sign up as a NVIDIA developer, even if you've never written a line of code in your life, because you get access to sessions that you couldn't attend, and that has just been a wonderful resource for us.
Do you know when the next conference is happening?
This March 20 through 23.
Excellent. Any other? Oh, sir. Oh.
Hi, my name is Megan Henley Lopez. I work for Tech Rebel. We're a global software development company. I wanted to know how companies like us can work better, maybe with the research and the work that y'all are doing within the space to kind of help usher in students into the workforce on this new frontier with AI.
I got to speak to that. It's not fully approved. It's not working yet, but we're starting both apprenticeship programs and what we call micro internships, which I put a large store in, where the idea is that corporates form partnerships with local corporations or even national or international corporations to have them bring projects that students can address over a semester in one of our AI labs, or 2 semesters, or 2 years for that matter, and pay students a stipend. We have a big problem with getting well-trained faculty, so faculties are going to be closely working with each student team, and they get stipends as well. For F1 students, which is a large fraction of student population at HCC, and even more so in the AI programs, the corporations will have to provide all the stipends because the NSF grant that I'm asking to get us away from home plate on this project won't fund F1 students. But we're seeing that as a great way of generating funds coming into the school to repeat the process and sustain it and make it grow. Again, our viewpoint is to provide trained artificial intelligence workforce at scale. Okay, universities cannot generate enough PhDs to have us effectively compete with China, for example, which they now have 200 excellent universities and marvelous mathematicians and computer scientists that are building very good models there as well. We can't compete with that. They've got 5 times our population. So we really need a generalized workforce that can handle the things that the PhDs shouldn't be wasting their time on, cleaning data, running the program, running the models. So that's how we see we can begin to address that kind of question.
So I'll add, we have a data to knowledge lab that every semester runs a project class, and companies sponsor projects. They bring their data, they bring their problems, our students meet with the employees and come up with a solution. So that's one option. Internships are always great. Come give a talk, right? Come meet our students. We'll arrange a time and a place and make that happen. We have computer science clubs. We have a women in computer science group. We're hoping to start a group. We don't have a name for it yet, but for underrepresented minorities, right? Populations that often aren't seen besides the women group in computing. So come visit, right? We'll make space for you.
Yes, thank you for the information pertaining to college level preparation for the workforce. Do you have any information you'd like to share about preparing high school age students, say for like soft skills like critical thinking, reasoning, or even substituting statistics for algebra?
So math and communication skills. I wouldn't worry so much about the programming. You'll get that in college, but be able to communicate, be able to do your math is a good start.
Yes, sir. Sorry, a couple of questions. I guess one for each. For you, since you're a professor in data science, when we talk about the ethics of AI in education as in primarily their tools, but remembering their tools and such, how do you see the role of AI expanding if, let's say, like a pseudo TA role situation, where there are a lot of aspects of managing some certain parts of the classroom or the digital tools are like the norm, so managing that part, some middle stuff in Tango, where you think that's something.
So I think adaptive learning would be fantastic, right? There's studies when the MOOCs first came out that it's great to, the computer can see your mistakes. You're not making a mistake in front of a human being, right? And often that's a safe space to experiment and try things out, right? If you have a computer checking your answer, you can try a lot of different options, and nobody knows it took you 20 tries to get the right answer.
So I mean, but you feel like that is a natural extension and
absolutely.
Could potentially be
Absolutely. Right. And the whole idea of adaptive learning, how do we take where somebody is and figure out, are they doing better? You know, how are they doing? If they're getting stuck, well, let's slow down, right? Let's change the pace, let's change the area. Or maybe if they're getting bored, right, they're doing really well, let's make it step up the pace, go harder.
People have different learning styles.
Right.
I wanted to ask you, so you talked about the consulting side and service and whatnot, and skills that might be required for things. What do you think, how do we have the conversation about, I feel like the new frontier is that it's going to evolve, the job market is going to change. So how do we have that conversation with the current generation, or even like from your role in consulting, how do you approach that with companies? This is kind of tying into the point that Dr. Brown had before, that people, again, the HR department just kind of said, okay, I remember I think it was the originator for the Swift language, where he's like, a job description as 15 years, he's like, I invented it 5 years ago. And like, so he's like, this is the stage. So what do you think is, like, what kind of skills the kids, like the new graduates can bring on paper as of right now? And what are the conversations we have to kind of change the corporate mindset towards that?
Yeah, and I guess I have one perspective. I can't have all of them, but so I talked to a number of. So I work deploying solutions into upstream oil and gas, which is a business which is affected by geopolitics, commodity pricing, everything pretty much, and is and so they're very tied to up and down cycles. Okay, but I talk to my friends who sell AI solutions into semiconductor and medicine as well, and they all sort of share some very similar stresses, which is to say that whenever you're trying to deploy, it's very easy to kind of get AI into banking, retail, and some other industries where there were no prior data solutions before. When you try to put them into places where there are trained doctors, physicists, semiconductor physicists, petrophysicists, engineers, they're like, well, I have had a solution for 100 years that works this way. I don't know that I need this other solution. And then you're trying to say, well, your solution works this fast and is this accurate. This solution is a system solution. It may work more accurately under these conditions. And now you have to get the corporations to say, we're going to invest in trying something different than we may have otherwise before. And that investment requires them to put a budget towards doing it. Whereas in other industries, you're not putting the solutions are more readily deployable and they bring money in. AdWords, right? Brings money in. So super easy, right? But displacing existing solutions or people requires the change management problem and also requires a very big shift in thinking. Can we trust a solution that isn't based on, physics or somebody reading, the medical exam, right? So there's a lot of stresses out there that have to be managed, and they have to be willing to invest in it, especially when it's a cost center long before it's anything else. And then you get to the fact that the projects are iterative, so you have to be patient, and that's not easy, especially if you've never had any of these things being done in your company before. So I don't know a great solution. I know the first step is to be empathetic. And so when we talk to people who feel like their jobs will be lost, mainly we're trying to explain to them what the productivity concerns are for them. It's like you want to upscale your skills. You don't want to be doing this same thing over and over again, where you could be doing much more tailored work with your degrees. For the young people coming out, not everybody's going to go work at the top of the pyramid, but there's a lot of support for that, which has been mentioned here several times. And, those mainly the companies that can't afford the data scientists to do all the other work are going to need all of these skills to help get those solutions out to the market. And hopefully they'll be willing to invest in it. That's really my big concern.
Last question. So we've kind of talked about the different aspects of how the new norm is being data and AI and technology in general. What would you say how important it is for to realize that regardless of the subject matter intent, you could be doing just accounting, you could be doing something arts and whatnot, but having data skills, so general skills, even basic data analysis is something that should most institutions consider like a norm, like a core curriculum at this point. Like everybody has to take psychology and ethics, the basics of like how much would you recommend or you think how important it is that should be considered a part of it, or should be made a part of it going forward?
I'm not sure how to intelligently answer your question. It seems to be based on the traditional way that academics and educational institutions work. And I think that is really neat. I think this AI lifting all boats, it's got to disrupt education as well. Educational institutions are notoriously unagile, just to put it mildly. I feel like probably 70% of my time for the past 3 years has been trying to teach an elephant to dance. Yeah. And it's a difficult task. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes I have obsessive periods at night, arguing, fantasizing arguments about how to make it better. But the agility, especially of educational institutions, really needs to change. I'm not sure how we're going to make that happen.
I'm going to contribute to that, which is a lot of this is student-driven. Data science is now the largest minor at Rice, and it's only been around for 3 years. Okay, so I don't know that you have to require it. I think the students are going to demand it. They're going to say, we want this, find more classes for us, make more opportunities available.
And which is the point that I was trying to understand better, because like so, Rice is quite a wonderful school with an amazing focus on future needs or identifying frontiers that students need to focus on, skills they need to develop. But a lot of times, most of the student body feels, especially coming out of high school, even in high school, they kind of feel like, 80% of this law, they're like, first year, I have no idea what I want out of this. So the goal being like, since this is going to be, like we have to have the conversation to whether we like it or not, this is the next frontier. Students need to be able to, schools need to be able to kind of have that plan in place. Okay, this is kind of like helping them realize, okay, like, like you do basic English or math, like whatever you do in life, you have to learn how to communicate more effectively and promptly. So same thing with this, I feel like, that's a good conversation to have, like schools need to realize that other schools besides good schools, they would like, students will need that.
I do have to be mindful of time.
Yes,
So
sorry.
apologies. Eva, wrap us up, please. And the next panel for Tech Rodeo will be at Greentown Labs right across. So people do need a little time to get there. We'll go ahead and mute the online. There were some questions. We unfortunately cannot get there on the online side. But the panelists, please, get in front here. We'll take a picture. If you want to be in the photo, don't want to be in the photo. And we'll wrap up this session. But thank you so much, everybody. That was really, really fun.